Hey there guys, how's it going today? This is Power Button Revelations coming at you again with a bit of a review and first opinion of the Samsung Galaxy Note 10 Plus 5G. I would like to start by saying I apologize for the quality of this video. I'm having to use a Tab S6 for the camera, which the video quality, as I'm sure you can see, isn't the best, but I'm having to deal with it while my primary camera, my Galaxy S10, is currently being worked on. But otherwise, I'm not going to do an unboxing on this phone. It's basically the exact same unboxing experience as you would get on a Galaxy S10 or a Galaxy Note 10, so it's just boring. There's a charger, there's some headphones, there's an OTG adapter, and some replacement S Pen tips, and that's about it. Outside of that, the experience on the Note 10 Plus has been very similar to just a regular old Note 10, or I should say the Note 10 Plus 5G experience has been very similar to just a regular Note 10. The device is the same physical size. They didn't make any changes to the dimensions, but what I find probably most disappointing about the physical aspect of the device is Samsung didn't indicate in any way that this is a 5G phone. They didn't put like a glowing logo on the back or anything like that, like some of the original 5G phones had. Really, the only way you can tell is just by the 5G logo appearing up by your signal indicator at the top of the screen. So you get to know that you have 5G, but there's no way to really show other people that this is a 5G phone outside of that. Otherwise, in my area, I live in the greater St. Louis area. There is no 5G signal currently, so I had to do a little bit of a drive. Basically, if you go within 50 miles in any direction outside of St. Louis, there is 5G. I got to try it out a little bit, and for instance, in my home, I get about 40 megabits download speeds, about 7 megabits upload speeds, and what I was able to experience just south of where I live was about double that. I saw anywhere between 81 and 90 megabit per second download speeds, and then about 14 to 20 megabit upload speeds. So not a terribly big improvement considering the $300 premium that you're paying for the device, but you get to say that you have one of the first 5G phones, if you will. And I have a deep faith in T-Mobile's network. I know that the 600 megahertz signal capacity that they've been putting out all over the place is just going to keep growing, and I feel like this was a good investment in a phone, even though it's not going to pick up on the millimeter waves, which is kind of the big 5G technology that I know everybody's waiting for. I think that the strategy that T-Mobile has by breaking up the 5G releases is going to help alleviate some of the maybe inconsistencies or some of the holes in their networks that they might have, and it might help with the capacity of the network by selling phones that run on the different wavelengths of 5G. But that's just my opinion. I don't know that for a fact. But outside of that, the phone has been an absolute beast. You've got Snapdragon 855, as you all know. It's the same processor that Samsung's had since the S10. We have 12 gigabytes of RAM, which I don't know if the RAM specifically has anything to do with it or if it's One UI 2.0, but I've noticed things download much faster on this phone than on my S10 Plus or even the Note 10 that I was using before this phone. I noticed that things pull up much faster and games pull up much faster, so I think that the extra 4 gigabytes of RAM that this phone has is maybe pulling some magic. In terms of battery, I have noticed that the battery performance on this device has been fairly poor in the past week that I've been using it. In comparison to the regular Note 10 that I was using, I would maybe have to charge that device, once at the end of the day, but I would still have some battery left. With the Note 10 Plus 5G, I am noticing that I'm having to charge the battery before my day is over, and I don't think that I've been using the device any more than I usually would. So I do think it's interesting. Maybe the battery's still kind of learning how I'm using the phone, but outside of that, I feel like the battery life could be better on this phone, but the charging speeds on this thing are absolutely insane. If you use the super fast charger that comes in the box, you're basically looking at getting up to 100% in under an hour in my experience, which has been very pleasant to have on a device. I don't think I've ever had a phone that charged quite that quickly. I have even used the OnePlus 7T Pro recently, which that's a very fast charging device. This thing still gets up to 100% faster, so that's really cool to have. Outside of that, it's just been a pleasure to use. Like, this is kind of the omega of what Samsung has right now in terms of their premium devices that aren't a foldable. So it's just been nice to use. It's nice to have a phone that's just very high performing, that has all the specs that you want, that has the 3 cameras on the back that take excellent photos. I feel like they've improved the camera software even further, and if you guys want, I can make a video on the camera software and kind of some of the changes that they've made with One UI 2.0. Outside of that, I changed the gesture navigations because they kind of went for the pixel style navigations. Let me turn the brightness down here real quick so you guys can actually see the screen. The overall navigation has been very pixel-like, and so I had to change it back to the regular swipe gestures that I got used to on my S10 and my Note 10, where basically the middle swipe up is home, swipe up from the right is back, and swipe up from the left is your multitasking. Whereas stock, it basically comes with swipe up from the middle to go home, swipe from either side to go back, and then swipe up and hold to get to your multitasking. And that was just taking too long for me to get used to. Like, I'm sure I could have, but I prefer the 3 swipe gestures from the bottom. It's just what I've gotten used to. So yeah, I've been preferring that. In terms of the S Pen, I have not noticed any changes specifically in air gestures or anything that you can do in terms of like the camera shutter or zooming in and stuff like that, and photos and videos. So not much change in what the S Pen can do with the update. I think it was more just of a refinement to their overall software. I do notice that dark mode is starting to be supported in more and more apps on this phone than they were on my S10 and my Note 10, so that's a good thing. I love having the dark mode, black out everything, Android please. I would even like to be able to black out the backs of these icons, which would be really, really cool. I think it would fit the dark theme of the phone. Outside of that, I don't really have too terribly much to say. The phone runs like a normal new Samsung phone, but I want to put it out there for you guys. If any of you out there watching have any questions about the T-Mobile Galaxy Note 10 Plus 5G, I am more than happy to answer some questions, and my next videos will hopefully be in a little bit better quality than this one, so I hope you guys can forgive me for that. But again, if you guys have any questions about the new Galaxy Note 10 Plus 5G on T-Mobile, feel free to shout out in the comments. I will try to feature another video with this phone to give you a further update about a month into my usage. But I'm going to go ahead and sign out. I appreciate anybody who watches this video. If you could give me a like and a subscribe, I'm going to try to make more and more content as these 5G phones are coming out. I want Power Button Revelations to kind of be your go-to place for 5G and learning about the devices that are coming out. So if you guys are interested, I do also have possession of a OnePlus 7T Pro 5G. If you guys would like me to do a video, I know it's a completely different ballpark, and OnePlus did make some fairly significant changes to that phone. So if you guys would like to see a review, just let me know. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching. Peace out.